One ring to rule them all, one ring to bind them. This is what happens when the movie Lord of the Ring took the world by storm in 2001. They ruled them all. At the end, the trilogy, they have done everything and fans around the world knows what is Lord of the Ring is all about. However, there are fascinating details that are sometimes forgotten. Here are 10 things you probably didn't know about the making of The Lord of the Ring. It's hard to imagine now, but there was a point in time in which The Lord of the Rings' success seemed like a long shot. During pre-production, the franchise distribution and production rights were up in the air, bouncing from Universal to the Weinstein Company before landing with New Line Cinema, and the budget was tight. So much so that the project started out as two films. At one point, Bob Weinstein even suggested that they trim the story down to a single 2-hour film, which meant that they would have cut key sequences like the Battle of Helm's Deep. It wasn't until Lord of the Ring landed with New Line Cinema that director and screenwriter Peter Jackson and co-screenwriter Philip Boyens got a chance to expand the story back out to 3 films. While it was often reported that New Line's Robert Shea thought there should be 3 movies to match the number of books in the series, it seemed that he was just thinking of the studio's bottom line. More movies mean more money. Though so much of the Lord of the Rings depend on its fantastical beings, hobbits, elves, dwarves and orcs, one of the most memorable characters is in fact a human. Aragorn, aka Strider, is as heroic as he is kind-hearted, as skilled with the sword as he is at leading an army to fight against ultimate evil. Viggo Mortensen's portrayal of Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings films has been widely praised, but believe it or not, he almost didn't play the part at all. Another actor, Stuart Townsend, was cast to play the ranger and even filmed some scenes. Peter Jackson quickly realized that Townsend was so young to play Aragorn and moved quickly to find a replacement. Mortensen was initially reluctant to take the role because it was such a huge commitment, but his son was a huge fan of Tolkien and convinced him to give it a shot. Devout Tolkien fans know that there are plenty of places in which the Lord of the Rings film series diverges from its source material. Don't even get us started on Tom Bombadil. However, there's one big change that would have fundamentally altered Frodo's journey as a hero. In Peter Jackson's A Filmmaker's Journey, the director revealed that when they originally shot Return of King's climactic sequence in Mount Doom, Frodo straight out murdered Gollum by throwing him into the fiery chasm. While it seemed like a good idea at the time, Jackson admitted that having the Hobbit take such an active role in another's death would have changed who he was as a character. The footage was left on the cutting room floor, and in the end, Gollum was responsible for his own demise. Before he was Saruman, Christopher Lee was a Hollywood legend. The actor was known not only for his distinctive deep voice but for playing iconic roles like Dracula and Frankenstein's monster for Hammer Horror. He was also a lifelong Tolkien fan who reread the series at least once a year. So when he was cast in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it was likely a dream come true. Lee has longed to play Gandalf, but he was told he was too old by the time Jackson film series got off the ground. In the end, his portrayal of Saruman the White was a true standout in the series, and though he didn't get to play his dream role, he did have the distinct honor of being the only Lord of the Rings crew member to have ever met Tolkien. Part of the magic of movie making is convincing the audience that the film stars are really doing all those dangerous stunts. And in Lord of the Rings, there was a plenty of action to go around. Though the actors had stunt doubles to cover for them in the most death-defying sequences, they also did quite a bit of work themselves. As a result, the actors ended up with some pretty gnarly injuries. Orlando Bloom broke several ribs after falling off a horse while filming The Two Towers, and Viggo Mortensen broke two of his toes when he kicked a helmet and chipped his tooth during a fight sequence. For the latter injury, he simply asked that it be superglued back on so that filming could continue. At this point, it's pretty obvious that Viggo Mortensen was seriously committed to being the best Aragorn he could possibly be. He was so concerned about doing right by the character that he immersed himself in learning Tolkien's elvish language to make sure that he was convincing when he spoke it. It's impressive, yes, but Mortensen has a long history of being bilingual. He speaks 6 languages, including Dutch, French, and Spanish. He also learned Lakota for Hidalgo. Still, given how little time Mortensen had to prepare for the role, it's widely impressive that he was able to pick up a new dialogue and speak it so convincingly. When you think of the Lord of the Rings cast, chances are you picture them all standing together. The men and elves are tall, while the hobbit and dwarves are on the shorter side. In order to achieve that effect, Peter Jackson used different scale sets and scale double actors to create the illusion that the main characters were all significantly different sizes. That gave Jackson the ability to cast whoever he wanted in key roles, regardless of their size. And as a result, the tallest main actor in the Fellowship plays one of the shortest characters. John Rhys-davies, who played the dwarf Gimli, is 6'1", a full 2 inches taller than Viggo Mortensen. How's that for Hollywood magic? The Fellowship at the center of the first Lord of the Rings movie is made up of a cross-section of species from Middle-earth. Men, elves, dwarves and hobbits all are represented and all play an essential role in making sure Frodo can get the One Ring to Mount Doom. The actors that made up this ensemble became very close while filming the Fellowship of the Ring, bonding over long days on set and the unique experience of filming in the middle of New Zealand. To commemorate their journey as actors and characters, many of them chose to get the same tattoo. As Viggo Mortensen explained, "We all got the same one, the word 9 in the elvish, because that's what we are, 9. The only actor that didn't get ink for the Lord of the Rings was John Rhys-davies. Instead, he sent Brett Beatty, the actor who played film as a scale double for the White Shot, to represent him. When The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King hit theaters in 2003, fans were largely thrilled with the series' epic conclusion. It was celebrated in Hollywood as well, and Jackson and his crew were showered with accolades across the globe. At the 2004 Academy Award, Lord of the Rings was nominated for 11 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Picture. It won in every category it was nominated for, tying the most wins ever with Ben-Hur and Titanic. It was also one of the just 3 films to sweep its categories, and the first fantasy film to take home the coveted Best Picture trophy. Many saw the late stage award haul as a way for Hollywood to recognize the achievement of all 3 films, regardless It was a perfect way to culminate a truly remarkable run for the Lord of the Ring. One of the most exciting parts of the Lord of the Ring films was watching j.r.r. Tolkien's most fantastical locations come to life. Peter Jackson and the Lord of the Ring creative team worked diligently to make sure that places like the Shire and Mount Doom looked as real as possible. After finding the perfect location for Hobbiton, Alexander Farm in New Zealand, they spent months transforming it into something that looked like it could really exist in Middle-earth. The work they did was so successful that the filmmakers chose to keep some of the film set in place permanently. You can visit Hobbiton today and see the Shire in all its lush, tranquil beauty. Just keep an eye out for meddling wizards.